This is Robert Kraft, and I'm your host on SNN Network, and we are a proud media sponsor for the upcoming Precious Metals Summit Beaver Creek, which is now being held virtually this year. And joining me right now is Michael Williams. He is the executive chairman for AfterMath Silver. It's a publicly traded company. I got two symbols for you: AAG on the TSX Venture and AAGFF on the OTCQB. Michael, thank you for joining me today. How are you doing?
Hey, good, Robert. Thanks for having me on.
It's great to have you. So let's start with a very quick overview in history, and then we'll go from there. I know the company has come out with some news very recently, so we can get into that in a little bit.
Yeah, no worries. So AfterMath Silver is a company I put together with two business partners, Peter Valgaris, who handles all the technical aspects, and I can give you a little bit on Peter's background. He's a mining engineer, geologist. Had previously worked at Ivanhoe as technical services manager at the giant Oyu Tolgoi copper gold porphyry in Mongolia, and prior to that for Newmont and Placer Dome in Australia. Very well thought of mining engineer. And we decided that the market needed some good quality silver companies. And by that, the definition that we use internally is with assets that would work at a reasonable silver price. Reasonable, we use long-term consensus pricing. So when we look at acquisitions, we try say, will they work at $17 silver? The other thing we look for is we would like a silver asset that's predominantly silver, preferably open pittable, but has a 10-year mine life and could produce at 6 million ounces per annum. So that's our simplistic business model. You alluded to a news that we recently put out. We've acquired the Barranquilla silver copper project from Silver Standard Resources in Peru. And that coupled with our Chayacoyo project in Chile, we think we've got a 1-2 punch of potentially low-cost open pit silver deposits that we'll be spending the next 24 months demonstrating the economics. At Chayacoyo in Chile, we're going to go to PEA, and then at Barranquilla, we're going straight to pre-feasibility. So I like to think we've got the proverbial tiger by the tail. And if you look at the comps with our peer companies, we stack up exceedingly well. You'll find that by significant ounces in the ground, we're one of the largest, but they're high quality ounces. And I think there'll be ones that moving forward, the producers and investors will find very attractive because you can see a pathway to advance the projects through development. And certainly the exposure to silver, the silver leverage is phenomenal. We were quietly giggling when silver hit $20 because it means so much more from $17. Now we're in a different world. Now, by the time the conference shows up, who knows what silver will be. But I think the baseline is we think it'll work at a lot lower silver prices and copper. But when you start getting in this environment, I think it becomes, the two assets are special.
What would you say that makes the company unique and different compared to some of your peers out there?
That's a good question. If you look at it, we've got three assets. Cashinel, which is 20 million ounces historic. That's also in Chile. There's infrastructure in the area. I could see that being hopefully monetized, on the not too distant future, especially given these prices. It will require some further work, obviously. But when you look at Chayacoyo and Barranquilla, as I mentioned, they're potentially open pit targets, low cost. The historic scoping study at Barranquilla, for instance, had a strip ratio of less than 1-to-1. Now we'll be going to pre-feasibility study and confirming all those numbers, and they're historic. So you can't count on them, but they give us a guideline that, hey, I think we've got a really good shot at having two large open pit silver ore bodies, and those don't exist. There's I challenge anyone to really find one that would work at lower silver prices. And I think that's the key, because you always want to protect your shareholder base. I've been in the industry for 25 years now, gone through various cycles, and the fundamentals never really change. And if you're, use conservative long-term consensus pricing on these projects, A, you can raise capital for them, B, advance them, and hopefully you get to the point where you can raise enough capital to put them into production because your work is of such that you can demonstrate the internal rate of returns that the bankers and investors look for now and down the road. And that's really the key, is demonstrating the economics. We like to have that done within 24 months. Now we're in a COVID environment, give or take 6, but we'll have to see how that plays out. But at the end of the day, I think we've got 2 really solid, robust projects that, there's not a lot of good silver companies, and we're certainly on that radar. So, and with Barranquilla, we're going straight to pre-fees. So I think the heavy lifting's been done there. I would like to think the projects are largely de-risked. Our work over the next 24 months will prove that. And same with Chayacoyo is in a similar situation. We want to demonstrate that we can open pit that and make it work at $17 silver, because if you're in an environment like we are today of $25, $28 silver, the numbers become overwhelming.
And what's your background prior to joining AfterMath? I mean, have you been working in silver mines for most of your career?
Mainly in mining. I started in '96 with a company called Atna Resources, and I was with them for 7 years. And we had a polymetallic lead, silver, copper, gold project called Wolverine in the Yukon. I kind of cut my teeth on learning the industry, but I've had my own companies largely since 2003. Fortuitously, in 2010, one of our companies was called Underworld Resources. It was taken over by Kinross Gold for $139 million. What I liked about that project was, we'd spent $29 million in the ground, going from grassroots discovery largely, which is like catching lightning in the proverbial bottle, to being able to monetize the asset literally within 36 months. Now, those timeframes don't normally work in our industry. In our case, they did. And then Peter and I started another project in Queensland, Australia, lead zinc project called Pegmont that we think at some point we've tripled the resource. We'll be able to transact on it, hopefully sooner than later as base metals come back. But it was with Peter that we decided to put this together with our third partner, Ralph Rushton, who's been in the industry 15 years, geologist, very savvy on the markets, former Anglo geologist. So I think we've got the right pieces of the puzzle. It's just going forward and getting some drills going to confirm what I think we already know, but certainly we'll have steady news flow on both projects and perhaps on Cashinel as well.
You already kind of answered my next question. So it sounds like the one thing investors should really look for moving forward is just drilling, just getting after it, seeing results.
There'll be more drilling on Chayacoyo. As Barranquilla, a lot of the drilling's largely done. It will be geotechnical drilling, metallurgical drilling, some infill drilling. But as I say, we are going to also test some exploration targets there. We've got a couple showings that mirror the original ore body. So maybe we get lucky and I capture lightning in a bottle twice there. But it's sort of like I was trying to come up with an analogy. We've made a movie. Barranquilla is a movie. It's wrapped. We're showing it to audience. They like it. Now we have to see how far it goes. It's making money, so to speak. So the next step is it going to win awards? And by that, I mean, is it going to demonstrate its economic and go into production?
Yeah, you're
and
working
very
on
few companies do that.
Yeah, you're working on that distribution deal. That's Sundance right now, right? You got to accept it to there.
Giving you a Colorado reference.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, right. There we go. So Michael, with that, where can my audience go and find everything they need to know about AfterMath Silver?
www.aftermathsilver.com.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you so much again. I really appreciate you joining me today, learn a little bit more about the company, and wish you guys the best of luck.
Thank you. We'll see you online again.
That's for sure. My name again, Robert Kraft, host of SNN Network. Joining me has been Michael Williams, Executive Chairman of AfterMath Silver, publicly traded company, two symbols, AAG on the TSX Venture and AAGFF on the OTCQB. And we are a proud media sponsor of the upcoming Precious Metals Summit, Beaver Creek, which is now going virtual. Michael, we'll see you there. And thank you for joining us.
Have a good afternoon.
You too.
Cheers.